had one small observation that I did mean to talk about really quick. And I hope this doesn't go on no big tangent. It has to do with throws. So the fact that we walked into them is kind of good. I was noticing, and this might be a problem what I'm trying to resolve in my left hand right now, but the difference between like Kevin calls it cocking or whatever, and you're like kind of like this, but like it moves up, right? But what I've noticed is if you do more of a lead like that, which I was doing with my left just now, then it leaves your arm kind of up, but like not like instead of your, like what I'm trying to point out is that if you just let your wrist drop, which I think is the overall idea of the motion, that's better. I don't know. Then your arm's not moving. If you just let it drop. If you try to do more of actually make the hump or whatever, then you start engaging other muscles and thereby your arm, which might be something you want to do eventually for a big stroke. But for a lot of these things, it seems like you want to not do that. You want to just drop literally just drop your wrist, like the most limp wrist situation you can possibly think of, which is the hardest thing ever, is to just let it go, right? Just right. Somehow. The
other thing you just described is not as correct. This is correct. Because that's how Murray would describe it. Murray described in that Louis Belson video you probably saw, is he talked about this. This is free. Or
you're just dropping, right?
You're just dropping. See, here, I'll show you.
You're not engaging. You're not like artificially almost like too high.
Yeah, this is actually a pronation. You pronate.
Pronation, that's the word. Sorry.
The cocking is if you imagine you're cocking a gun.
Okay.
That's really where that's where I believe that comes from. It was never explained to me, but if you've ever played with guns and you cock the trigger, you cock the hammer, right?
Yeah.
It looks like that. That's the cocking part, right? So that.
I'm a pronation. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah. Pronation, cock, throw. So you're absolutely correct. That's interesting. You actually got it correct. This, right? So how you would follow up, if you were to follow up like you're saying, if you don't mind, we diverged for a moment. So It would look like this, which is what you're talking about. It would look like this. It starts with this. It starts with that free tap.
Yeah.
It just falls. And
you got to let it fall and you got to be aligned right. I mean, to optimize it, you don't have to do anything, right? But like to optimize the situation and to really get that feel without like engaging correctly. So in other words, to make the whole system optimal, you just got to drop and you got to be at the right. You got to be at the right place.
Here, if I can add one more thing to that, right? So if you look at this, see the arm is already coming up. It just does that. You may or may not notice. So you don't want to hold it tight. Well, you can't. See, it's going to go up no matter what. If you turn, it's going up. Determining how much you want to go up is where you get to choose. Well, sort of. If I want an accent that big, then I'm going to turn up that much. See? So this, you're quite correct. But you'll notice you are coming up. If you could look in your mirror, the side there. So if you just see your arms, it's starting to come up.
I feel like the best ones, though, the best ones happen if the more I can minimize my arm going up.
No. The thing is,
don't do that.
If you're only because if you're saying if I can minimize my arm, that means you're actively engaged in trying to stop something that might want to happen, right? And you don't want to do that. If this is going to come up, I don't want that not to happen, because if I do this, I don't feel anything. If I try to stop it, then suddenly I'm pinning this to my arm and I'm doing all sorts of stuff to try stop this natural motion from happening, right? So if you just touch, your arm is going to come up. Even if you just do it this way, see, it's already coming up. See it? Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay. Right. But I can't explain it right yet, but there's a difference. There's the good one, the one that I'm labeling good, it happens at the wrist or something. Whereas the more pronated one, the pull is happening over here.
Well, if I may, it's actually all wrist turns. I mean, you may feel more muscular. You might feel these muscles more here, but it's all generated from wrist turn. It's all wrist turn. Everything is wrist turn. Okay? It's all wrist. Look. Wrist turn, 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 wrist turn. See, even the throw is a wrist turn. It's all wrist turns. So if you come up and throw, it's all wrist turn. Every bit of it's a wrist turn. See, it's all wrist turn.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to. The drop thing it really just feels like a drop. It is a turn, but just like it's totally just dropped and gone. But the difference is, like, if I actually actively pronate, there's an actual feeling going on when I'm doing this versus like.
Well, if you do that, what you're just showing me right now,
but I felt like that felt wrong, whatever I was just doing. But go ahead.
However, I could speak on that for a moment. If you actively pronate this way, you moved away before you had a chance to tap. You see, this motion is contingent on the tap. Now you can, right? If you're gonna play a single accent, right? I call this the fixed point in the universe, right? Where there's like a rotation happening here, looks like that. But if you're making a tap, it does that. If you attempt to do this and then tap, that's incorrect, because this tap and this are dependent on each other. See, that it's dependent.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like if I actively tap, basically what's happening is that to get that active tap, I need to pull up anyway, and so I'm pulled up already and then tapping. Whereas if I just let it drop, then I haven't. The important part, I think, is that it's at the floor, and it's just straight drop from the floor, as opposed to being at the floor, you moving up weird
and then
unconsciously maybe, and then doing the tap and then just pulling it back out, creating that weird.
That sequence is incorrect. Where this tap comes from, where this motion comes from. If you're making a tap, now once again, if you're just making an accent, that's different. But if you want to make a tap, then these things are together. They're integral. See? You shouldn't have one without the other, or else you're moving away and then making a tap, was what you're saying. That's not how it works. It comes from here.
I think we're saying the same stuff more or less.
Yeah, we are saying the same.
Okay.
I'm actually agreeing with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're absolutely that's what I'm saying. You're absolutely correct. Is when you tap here, right? If you just let it fall, which is I might have mentioned there are two ways to come down, right? You can let gravity do it. Gravity will just let it fall, right? Or you can use muscular force, right? They end up at the same point. Look, here's gravity, here's muscular force. They end up at the same point. They end up at the same place. Right? Allowing gravity is the ideal at this point.
Yeah. Cool.
But what we're doing right now is we're doing this. So it comes after. Double tap accent, yeah. There you go. Fixed point of the universe. That's it. That actually, look, can you see yourself in the return video? Go, keep doing it. It looks really good. Fixed point in the universe, throw. Throw. Like that. The other way that Richard would describe it sometimes is it does feel like the stick just hangs there for a moment. See, you feel the weight of the bead wanting to come down. right? You feel it. If you can feel the weight of the bead, you can feel it in your hand, right? You can feel it more against the middle finger. You can feel more of it resting against the palm of your hand. Okay, as you turn down like this, right, you feel more of the weight of the stick. So that's another way to feel it. You can feel the weight of the stick right there. Try it again.
Okay. No. 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 Better.
I like that. That's another good one. Yeah. Turn the wrist. Okay, now let me show you one other thing that'll happen. That's all really good. So once again, you were correct with this. That was correct. Or else you're moving away and then making the tap. That's not what you want. They're absolutely together. Go ahead.
One more small observation is maybe that problem of overdoing that why sometimes that I've heard that when you go back to Murray that he might say that you're getting a gooseneck.
Yeah.
Like because
I've actually had that said to me.
Like you're not now you're overdoing this, so now you're getting this gooseneck effect, which really is just you over like going too high up right now and not dropping enough from parallel. You're just above and you're going down and kind of faking it, if you will, till you make it. Well, but I mean, it's a different.
Well, actually, I can speak to that for a minute because I actually was attacked once. Not verbally because of this, but here's the difference. Here, so Murray
like getting whacked with a drumstick.
I mean, like verbally attacked in front of different folks, but this is why Richard did that, and it doesn't look quite like you think it does, but it does. So the reason this is Murray. Right, so you tap. And you start to come up this side, and you come back and you can do the extra thrust, he would say. Right? So this is Murray, looks like this. This is Richard, which is what you're speaking of. Now, here's why Richard did that. This is what he told me. Now watch Murray. You come up to here. Now that's pretty damn loud. That's as much volume as you need. The reason. Okay, I'll show it to you one more time. Oh, here's Murray. Okay, now observe where the stick is as far as the height as it can go. Okay? Watch Richard Wilson. More force to play with.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're engaging your arms, you're higher up. And
that's why Richard Wilson did that. Hey, Tom, I'll call you back later. That's my friend from Boston. You'd love.
Hey, Boston, Tom.
You'd love Tom.
It's like 2:30 there.
He plays like traditional Irish music.
Oh, cool.
Oh, he's great. Accordion.
I love the lilt of those Irish jig things. I just love that. That lilt is amazing.
He used to have an English music hall group here in L.A. He did George Formby. It's just pretty wild. Okay, so let me cement that again. So, Murray, you go about that high. Richard Wilson, and Richard said the reason why he was having us do that is because the music we were playing required a lot more volume. So you would look like this. So you're actually playing, you have more arm and shoulder to play with, right? But it did require you to do this. So one of the things Richard would have us to do, and Kevin probably showed you this, is he would show you how much you could turn, right? You could turn this high, that high. That's the complete thing. Murray, you're correct, only did this, which is more than enough. But that's why it did that.
Okay, cool. That's a good story.
And it did get quite
helpful.
And it is quite controversial.